Number 10, HP down more than 1%. Ray Lane is stepping down as chairman of the company. It's the latest fallout from the disastrous purchase of the software maker. The acquisition led, of course, to a nearly $9 billion write-down at HP and sparked accusation of accounting fraud. Now, Lane's going to continue serving on HP's board.
And ArcelorMittal shares down 2%. The world's largest steelmaker falling 22% in the first quarter, the worst performance in the period since ArcelorMittal was formed back in 2006. Citigroup says the company needs to make deeper cuts in Europe in order to spur a turnaround. Boy, that's tough if you got to cut back in order to grow.
At number 8, we've got NII Holdings surging 20%. Shares of the wireless service provider climbing as the company announced that it's selling its Nextel Peru stake for about $400 million. NII says it will use the proceeds of the sale to invest in Mexico and Brazil, its two largest markets.
All right, number 7 is Radware, tumbling 23%, the most since 2004. The Israeli maker of technology that helps networks run efficiently, reporting earnings that trailed forecasts. Radware says sales in China and in Europe, as well as the Middle East and Africa, they've all slowed.
And Hanes Brands, the shares are jumping 4% today. The clothing company says it will begin issuing a quarterly dividend of 20 cents a share. That will begin in June. The quarterly dividend is the first for Hanes Brands since it spun off as an independent, publicly traded company back in 2006. Hanes obviously proving it's not just about underwear. It's T-shirts and everything else.
Number 5 is Yum Brands. The shares are down about 1%. Analysts linking the stock sell-off to the 2.7% drop in Hong Kong's overnight trading. And that was a result of the recent outbreak of Asian bird flu that has authorities closing many poultry factories in China. Yum generates nearly 50% of its revenue from that nation.
Well, you know, you can understand why Yum Brands is down, certainly, Jules. You can also understand why technology is down. So much of the tech manufacturing happens in Asia, and there's concern about whether this shuts off corporations' ability to actually move products literally across borders.
All right, number 4, Rigel Pharmaceuticals plunging about 40% here. The drug maker falling to its lowest value in 4 years after its experimental rheumatoid arthritis drug being developed by AstraZeneca showed mixed results in a trial. The drug failed to show improvement in an X-ray tracking the progression of joint damage.
And let's talk about F5 Networks down 19%. The stock falling the most in 5 years after the company reported preliminary quarterly profit and revenue, which missed the estimates. F5 seeing its data management equipment sales shrink in North America. Not good.
And number 2 is Zynga. Those shares are up more than 2%. Veteran venture capitalist John Doerr, he's joining Zynga's board of directors. This move an attempt to bolster governance as the game maker seeks to revive growth, particularly in its core business.
All right, this brings us not to our number 1 stock today, but we're talking about the 10-year yield. Plunging today to its lowest level since December. The benchmark rate has declined sharply over the last month as demand for low-risk assets increased amid mounting evidence that growth in the U.S. economy is slowing. I think we started out the show, it was around 169, looking like it's ending there around 171. There, the yield on the 10-year. And we've got a market, folks, I just want to point out, that really has amazingly recovered from some of the losses we saw earlier in the session. Looks like it's going to end out down off about 45 points there. The S&P off about 7.